welcome back to Justlivin Designs podcast. My name is Shannon, Justlivin Designs. I am coming to you from a snowy Montana. We'll get into that later with life stuff, but yeah, we got more snow. It is my second attempt at recording this podcast this morning when I recorded a little bit after 9, and I was putting it onto my computer and then onto the app that I use to edit. And I started playing it back. There was weird background noise. Don't know why. I just checked. I did a little video here and I didn't hear a noise on my phone. So hopefully, because I record on my phone, hopefully it is not going to pick up a noise this time. I don't know what happened. I was using my like gimbal-y vlogging thing earlier to record. And now I'm recording with my other setup that I use for tutorials. So maybe it was the gimbal was making noises. I don't know what was going on. Anyways, today is February 6th. It's a Thursday. It is about 11:15 in the morning. So it's still in the morning. This will still come out on Friday. I'll get it edited today, and I usually schedule it for like 6 o'clock my time on Friday to come out. So it'll be all nothing changing on your end. It's just my second time going through this on my end. Anyways, yeah, like I said, snowy. So it's very bright. I always open up my curtains so I get natural light in here, and it's very bright because everything's just white outside, and it's sunny out today. So, all right. So this is my podcast that I talk about my knitting and crocheting. Generally, I will go through finished objects, whips, and then acquisitions, and then I'll talk about reading, watching, and life stuff at the end. I am an independent knitwear designer. You can find everything that I talk about linked right down below in the description box. I try to link makers and products like that. I try to link everything I talk about, stores, anything else. And then also projects, I link my project page so you can go find more of the information on the actual projects there, because I'm pretty good about updating those. What else? My Ravelry storefront is linked down below. Also my link tree that has links to other places you can find my patterns and all my social medias. I am at Justlivin Designs on Instagram and maybe Threads and Blue Sky, and then on Ravelry, I'm Justlivin. So yeah, that's where you can find all my stuff. All right, I'm going to talk about what I'm wearing right off the bat. Get back into this the right way. This is Anchor Sweater My Size. It is by Petite Knit. I knit it with Sonder Yarn Co. In their DK, Sunday Morning DK, I believe is the name of the base. And then it's French Press is the colorway. It's a gorgeous reddy brown. You know me, I love my browns, love my reddy browns, love all browns. And then my hat is one of my designs. I knit this one last winter. It is, the design is older than that, but this one I knit last winter. It is the Eve cap, which is based on Jacques-Yves Cousteau. His, it's spelled Y-V-E-S. That's, you pronounce it Eve in French. I made it out of Farmer's Daughter Fibers Pishkin in the colorway Winter Wolf. This is a very warm hat, which is what we need right now with the weather we're having. It's knit top down, 1x1 rib. And since you do it top down, you can, if you still have enough yarn, if you really want to, you can do like a double folded brim to make it even cozier on your ears. You can wear it with it has a bit of a pointy thing. You can wear it that way, or you can kind of push it down your head to be more of a beanie style without so much of a point. Whatever you like. It's a very comfy hat. Anyways, that's what I'm wearing. All right, getting on. Since it's the first podcast of a new month, I am just going to go over quickly with my yarn in and outs. I finished 5 projects last month in January, and I had 454 grams come out of my stash. That included a few of my blankets that I total every time I go through so much yarn. I'll total it out for the month. And then I had 225 grams come into stash. So I am in the black, which is good. Let's continue that for the rest of the year because I want to get rid of more of this stuff and just not have quite as big of a stash. I love to have a stash because it's fun to play with, but I don't want to have so much stash. All right, let's go into, one other announcement. On the last episode, I did a giveaway and I haven't heard from the person that won. So I'm gonna put it back up here again, the winner, and you have until the next recording. So in 2 weeks from today, which is Thursday, so a week before the next episode comes out, to get back to me either via Ravelry messages. Like I said, I'm Justlivin on Ravelry, or on Instagram DMs at Justlivin Designs on Instagram, or you can email me, which that is also linked down below. Any of those ways, you let me know. And if you're in the US, I will send you out this skein of yarn. It was World on a String was the name. I'll send out this skein of yarn from Western Sky Knits. You got to leave me your address and your name, and then also pick out a pattern of mine from my Ravelry pattern store, and I will gift that to you. I'll also give me your Ravelry username so I can gift that to you easier, or your email. If you don't use Ravelry, you can just use my email and I'll gift it to you. If you're from outside the US, you get a choice of 3 patterns instead of just 1, and not the yarn, because I'm not shipping outside of the US. All right, that's that. Again, if I don't hear back from that person, I will draw a new winner before the next time I record episode 35. So this is, I announced this giveaway on episode 32. I drew it before episode 33. Giving them one more round of watching, so a full month, and then if they don't get back to me, I'll draw again. All right, into finished objects. First one is my second pair of mitts for my new design that's going to be coming up. It is out to testers right now. It is a sport weight fingerless mitt pattern. I knit this one with Woolberry Fiber Co. in her Berry Sport. It's bred, again, a lovely brown red. And this is the small size. This was my, for me. So it actually fits me. I like my mitts to be nice and tight, and I mean, not like uncomfortably tight, but fitting tight so they don't swirl around. I like mittens and mitts that do not swirl around. So this is the difference between small and large. They're about the same length, just a lot smaller, because this is size small and this is size large. There is a medium size as well. Some of my test knitters have already completed the test knit, so by next episode they might be out. It might not. I think the test runs about 3 more weeks till the end of February, so we'll see if people get it done before that. If they do, then I'll release it early, as long as I get my good pictures taken. That's always the holdup. If not, it will be out in 2 episodes. All right, next finished object. I did not cast this on till after the last episode, but this is my pair of socks that I talked about needing to cast on another pair of socks. And this was it. This is yarn by Tiny Human Knits. It is a Taylor Swift colorway. I'm not a Taylor Swift fan by any means, but the colorway was what I was going for. The colorway is called Evermore. It was a sock set of a 50-gram main color and then a 20-gram mini, and the mini is just gorgeous as well. I mean, we got browns here, and then we got green here, and I did a cut-in afterthought heel. There's a tutorial on this channel for how to do that in my tutorials playlist. There's a lot of tutorials. I'm going to be putting another one up at some point because I'm designing a new sock design that I want to add another tutorial for. So there's always tutorials coming out, as well as the podcasts. And there's also a short on this because I usually make little sock puppets when I cut in an afterthought heel. And so there's the short of this sock puppet on the channel as well. if you want to have a fun little sock puppet video. I do those mainly for Instagram, but I've been starting to put them on my channel here as shorts. So that is my 2 finished objects. Now we'll go into whips. I have 4 whips to talk about. The first one is going to be a bit of an acquisition as well as a whip, because I talked last time that I had pre-ordered the skein from Gauge Dye Works to do the knit along for February, which is the Astronomy Cal, February 2025. Gauge Dye Works is a self-striping dyer out of Canada, and I got the trifecta fingering base, the round trip colorway, because I wanted to make this for my husband. So she had it a lot of times, not always, but sometimes she'll like build a mini into the skein, and this time she did. So it was like self-striping, and then in the center of the skein was a chunk, like a 25-gram mini, essentially, and then self-striping the other way. So you don't get 2 repeats of the self-striping. It's just 1 repeat of the 28 stripes with the mini in the middle. So I wound it up to be 3 balls. So I have 2 separate balls for my socks and then 1 for the mini. And then I started on the 1st because it was the first day of February. These are all tangled up because I've done this already. And I use the contrast for the cuff, and these are 1 by 1 for the cuff, 3 by 1 for the sock because it's for my husband and he prefers ribbed socks. I'm going to be using my GHFSS sock pattern, which is good heel for self-striping socks. It is a heel flapping gusset that works really well for self-striping because that's what he prefers. So 2 done to day 6. My charms are some Star Wars charms from Charm to Dangerous. And yeah, I usually work on these right away in the morning after I make coffee while the kids are eating breakfast and getting their lunches packed for school. So they get done right away in the morning every day. Next one is another pair of socks. This I cast on the 1st as well, because it was my monthly stash yarn, mystery stash yarn skein, and this month was from Legacy Fiber Arts. It was a sock set, glass ceiling. So it was a 100-gram sock set, so 100-gram main color with a 20-gram mini. And I decided to use the Minecraft pattern again. These are socks for my daughter because it's a little more fun than just straight up ribbing. And I, just like last time, I made a shorter version of that. I change it. I use my good heel for self-striping socks heel in it. So that's that heel. It's a square turn. And then I also changed, because that sock pattern it's a free sock pattern by Heather Cox, I believe, Minecraft socks. I changed the pattern to fit over the foot. I also changed the number because this is a smaller number because that's a single size sock pattern and I don't use that size for it. And yeah, 1 sock finished this morning. I kitchened the toe. You can see that texture, really nice. It plays well with like speckled and variegated yarns, I think, this texture. So that's why I chose it for this. It's very like, I think this colorway is kind of leans springy, but it kind of makes me sad because it's glass ceiling. They dyed it after Biden's inauguration, when the ladies of the inauguration, so there was Amanda Gordon, who did the poem that was gorgeous, and then Michelle Obama and Hillary Clinton and Jill Biden, and then Kamala Harris were all like, they had a picture together, and their outfits were very colorful and bright, lots of different colors. So that's where they kind of got the theme of this. And it was the whole idea of the first female vice president elected into office, breaking that glass ceiling, which we have not broken it yet, in my mind, especially now. So yeah, that's my whip there. Oh, bags. I forgot to talk about bags. This is Bags by Awesome Granny. My sock bag from her. I love this fabric. And then this one is Barley Pearls in my library bag. I love this bag as well. These are good sock-sized bags that I use over and over and over again. All right, next whip, I think I'm going to talk about my blanket. This is the only blanket I brought up today. It's the granny stripe because it's getting really close to being done. I measured it after I finished the last magic knot ball with my husband laying on the couch, and I measured that I need another like 5 to 6 inches to get it to where it goes over his feet but all the way up to his shoulders, so when he really wants to hunker down under a blanket, he can get his whole body under it. Let's see. This is where I was last time, and here's the start of February. There's the progress between January to February, and there's last time. So I made up another magic knot ball of about 4 colors. These are 20-gram minis or leftovers of fingering weight yarn, sock yarn generally. I mean, I'll use non-sock yarn if it's at least has to be superwash. And then I have the numbers, I believe, on my Ravelry page. But yeah, so I'm just into this color right now. This is leftovers from a sweater from years ago, actually. But yeah, so that is getting done. Like I said, it's very big. If you've seen any of my episodes, you know that this one's very big. It's very nice. I usually work on it after I've done my, after everybody's gone to school and I move over to my desk area. I work on this in the morning for at least get 1 row, maybe 2 back and forth sometimes in, just to work on it every day, at least during the week. On the weekends, I'm not usually at my desk so much at the weekends, so I have a tendency not to work on this. But I'll do this while I'm checking, like right now I have a test knit going on, so I'll be checking my computer for that, and I'll be doing some other stuff on the computer, and I'll work on this. Yeah. And that is with a 3mm crochet hook. All the details, I think I even have the cast on number on my Ravelry page, so that's impressive for me. Because usually, a lot of times I don't pay attention and write down my cast on numbers. I am done with like coffee and tea because it's so late in the day, so I'm on water. All right, next. My last whip that I want to talk about is also in a new acquisition. It is the broom sweater. I moved it into this bag because I wanted to use it. I bought one of the redesigned project bags. This is number 10. I got it at my LYS. It zips up like so. And I'm going to show you what it looks like opened. I'll talk about it a little bit more after I talk about the details of the sweater, but I'll at least show you how this opens right now. This is a lovely leather project bag. They have it at a lot of LYSs. It's from somewhere over in Europe, I believe the company is. But it's just gorgeous. This is the walnut colorway. And it opens like that. Love it. You can fit a lot of stuff in here. Anyways, all right, I'll talk about that more in just a sec. Right now I'll get onto the sweater because I have another acquisition to talk about with this sweater as well. So this is the broom sweater by Andrea Mowry. I have made the neck a lot shorter because my daughter did not want the tall neck that is on it. And I made the body a little bit longer, and the sleeve might be a little bit longer because my daughter has, I have long arms and hers are just a hair longer than mine. So I was finishing up the sleeve yesterday, and I had to wait for her to come home to try it on to know if I needed any more length, and I added a couple more rows to finish it up. Last time you guys saw it, it was down in the ribbing on the body. So I finished that up, and then I picked up the sleeve, and I was going to start working on the sleeve shortly after the last time I recorded, because this should have been done, but I realized that I could not count my stitches so easily with this yarn to know when to decrease evenly, because I don't do it. The first time I do it, if they put a measurement down, I do it with a measurement, but I also count how many rows that is, so it can be evenly distributed throughout the sleeve. I'm anal. That's how I do it, by counts, not just by measuring. So I needed help with that, so I had to order something to come in the mail, which I'll talk about in a second. But yeah, this is yarn from Farmer's Daughter Fibers. In their Oh Dang Decay, the colorway is Teton. It's very soft, very lovely, but makes it very difficult to see your stitches because it's a Surrey alpaca DK weight. It's almost more like a boucle-ish yarn the way it is. You can kind of see down here with the strand. It makes it very difficult to count stitches. So what I did was acquire a few things. So acquisitions. We're into acquisitions. Now I'm done talking about the sweater. I'm just not putting it in the bag yet, so I can talk a little bit more about the bag. So again, I got this bag, redesign number 10 from my LYS, the Yarn Bar. It is expensive, but it's worth it. This is one of the best knitting bags I think that I've ever bought from a designed like knitter in mind, plus what all it can handle and do. You could probably fit at least 2 sweater projects in here. Right now I just had the one sweater over here, and I have the extra yarn over here. I have like this ball, and this full skein that I haven't even wound up yet. Or on that side. Over here we have some spots to put needles. I have a long circular needle for when I do the ribbing on the sleeve, because I do not like to do those in the short circumference. It also has on that side a little thing that you can put darning needles through. On this side it has a couple of bunchy pockets. One I have just the tags for the yarn in. The other one I have my Chowgu Blue mini set. So this goes from US 4 to US 8, and it has smaller circumference cables. I'll show you the one that I actually have, and it has 2 different size tips. So I usually, a lot of times when I use these, I think right now I have it on the longest cable, but I use the long tip for my right hand and the shorter tip for my left hand, because I don't need the long tip on my left hand, but I don't like to use the short tip on my right hand. So I will do that to get a little bit of a smaller circumference. So that's what I'm using that for. Will be the second sleeve, which I'll probably finish up here in a few days. So in the middle pocket is where I have the built, because this is interchangeable set, left in here because that is what I am gonna knit on. And that's a middle like divider zipper pocket. In that is where I have housed my other acquisitions that I needed for this sweater. Well, I didn't need the bag for the sweater, but the bag, they had them before Christmas and I didn't get down there fast enough or tell my husband about it fast enough before they sold out. So we went down this last weekend and picked them up along with some records, because whenever I go out shopping with my husband, I'm like, let's go to the record store. So I got a couple records too. But the other thing I needed was, since I was having problems counting, and I needed to count the individual rows more than just like how many decreases I did for the sleeve to make them even. You want your sleeves to be even. I needed to count rows. So I ordered from Twice Sheer Sheep, the snag-free row counter. And this, I ordered the size medium that goes up to the US 8. Because for the most part, that's what I would need it for. I don't need a large circumference. And I would use this for smaller ones as well. Like sweaters from fingering weight up to DK worsted weight is generally most of the sweaters I knit. I don't use a lot of bulky for sweaters. Anyways, so this is a row counter. That's a stitch marker. So you have 1 through 0, that marks 10. And so essentially what you do is, as you're knitting, you, well, when you come up to it, you just go into the next marker down below to denote now I'm on round 2 or row 2, whatever you're doing. And you can go all the way through, and then they have this little extra bit here that detaches from the chain, and you can put that up like in the ones once you get all the way through your single digits to go up to your tens. So it can be 11, you know, and do your teens, and then you can put it on the 2 for 20s and the 3 for 30s, you know, so you can use it for long distances, or, you know, like me, I was using it to know how many stitches or rows I did before I did a decrease. And then I put it up at the top. I did not pay attention to how many stitches, like how many decreases I was doing, because I didn't have a ton for this sleeve. I think I had 7 decrease rounds I had to add. So I didn't make note. I just was like, oh, the sleeve's getting pretty long. Let's count my stitches to see where I'm at. But you could even make note with this little guy if you needed to, for how many decreases you did. But yeah, so that made that very, very easy. And then when I got done doing the decreases, I did need to knit a bit without decreasing, so I used that again. And I even used it in the ribbing, even though it's easier to count the ribbing because you can kind of see the purl bumps, but it's not the easiest with this yarn. So again, I used it even in the ribbing because it just made my life easier. I don't know if I'll go back to doing that because normally I just read my stitches, like you can see a stitch really easily. So I just count the stitches, and then after I do a decrease round, I put a locking stitch marker in, and then I can just count the stitch markers to know how many decreases I've done. So I don't know if I'll use this on most of my future sweater sleeves or not, but it worked really well for this yarn. So that is a good acquisition. And then the other thing, since I was ordering that, I ordered another tin from them. They have small and large of these tins. They come empty. I previously had ordered some tried-on tubing from them. That's like, they have different sizes of them. So they're small, medium, large. I think this was the medium size, so it goes on bigger needles, but easier. So I ordered that and put the tried-on tubing that I had purchased previously into this. So that's 2 of my new acquisitions, my bag, and then from Twice Your Cheap, the row counter, all to help with my knitting. Well, the bag I will use for a lot of things. I am looking forward to traveling with this bag because I think I could put like all my projects in there, even if I had like a couple sock projects in one side and then a sweater in the other side. That would be perfect. And then you could have like all your like notions in here and your needles that you need over. Oh, yep, I'm looking forward to it. So let's travel. The only other thing I will say, since this bag is a zipper and it's a big chunky metal zipper that would like to eat your yarn, what I do, you can start, but once I'm getting up to where my yarn is kind of hanging out, I'm trying to hold this so you can see, I will put my hand kind of in there and make sure that I'm zipping up not yarn. And then when I get to the other side, I kind of keep my fingers under it until I get to where the fabric is, and then finish it up. Because you don't want to get your yarn stuck in there, especially that like super fuzzy yarn that I'm using. That would suck. So there, you've seen 3 of my acquisitions already, because one I'm knitting with the gauge dye yarn, and then the other one I'm using, well, the other 2 I'm using with this project. So whips are done, acquisitions are almost done. The other acquisition I got in the mail was actually, usually I don't buy things from like Instagram or Facebook ads, but this caught my eye. It's not super yarny, but I'm also a bread baker. I love to bake sourdough. I like to bake, I make pizza dough when we have homemade pizza, and I like to bake cookies and brownies and pies and all that fun stuff. So this was from 5 Oaks Farm. It was an Instagram. They are a small business. They work out at their family business, I even got a little thing with like a drawing on it from one of the kids. They do all this out of their kitchen, I believe. But they had these bread bags. Because when you store bread, in any bread, but really handmade bread, if you put it in plastic, it will mold faster. Some people will just like wrap it in a towel, which is good, but it can dry out a little faster just in a straight up towel. So this is a large bag, so it can fit lots of different sizes of bread loaves that you might make. And they have lots of different fabrics. This is the one of the baking ones that I picked. It was just a black and white, and I liked it. So it is a cotton, I believe it's cotton fabric that then they use beeswax to coat it. So it kind of will seal a little bit on itself too when you roll it up. You don't have to like twist it or anything. You can just roll it up and have it like that and have the bread in it, and it will be fairly sealed nice. You just use soap and water to wash it out and let it air dry. I have washed it once. I haven't used it yet. I'll let you guys know how it goes once I use it. I plan to make bread again because my son has requested cinnamon raisin sourdough, so I will probably be making that sometime soon. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. And you probably don't even have to wash it all the time. If it's just got like crumbs in it, you can probably just dump it out. I would say I'd wash it every few times, but I don't think you'd have to do it every time unless it gets really messy. And then since I was buying that, I figured I'd try out their lotion bar. It's kind of cute. It has this little bee on it, and it is one that comes out of the tin, which I do like lotion bars that come out of the tin so you don't have to scrape and dig down in them. I don't really like this bar as much as like Tuft Woolens or the Lolo bar because it's a little sticky. This one is oat milk and honey. It's made with beeswax, olive oil, shea butter, mango butter, and fragrance oil. You don't need a lot of it, and you just kind of move it around in your hand and then move it around in your hands, but it makes my hands feel a little tacky until it really starts to absorb in, and it takes a while to absorb in. And I live in a very, very dry environment. My hands need moisture all the time. I prefer the lotion bars because they have a tendency to take longer to absorb and protect the hands a little bit more. This one, it still takes a while to absorb, which is great. Once it's absorbed, it's not sticky at all. It's nice. But while you're waiting for it to absorb, it feels kind of tacky and sticky, which I don't like with my yarn, especially like mohairs and surreys and stuff like that. I don't really want that with that. I think it might be the best, actually. I was thinking about this, and I need to wash some dishes today, so I'll try it, is putting it on before I wash dishes, because that wax might help prevent the water from penetrating my hands as much. So I mean, not right before I wash dishes, like 5 to 10 minutes before I wash dishes, so it can absorb a little bit, but it might help protect and seal in some of my moisture before I wash dishes, because washing dishes dries out your hands too. Everything dries out your hands. Knitting, baking, washing dishes, cleaning, living in Montana, all dries out your hands. So this is not my favorite lotion bar, but they do, if you don't mind that, like a tacky or lotion bar, like I said, once it absorbs, it's not tacky. But it's not my favorite. All right, I think that's all for the knitting and acquisitions. Now we'll go to reading and watching life stuff. Reading, I finished listening to Ward D on the Libby app. That is by Freida McFadden. Enjoyed it. It was a Freida McFadden book. So those are the ones that I generally listen to a lot of times. I am now listening to Do Not Disturb. Don't like the person that is reading that one as much. Her voice is kind of annoying, but still listening to it. Reading, I am still reading both Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros and All the Colors of the Night by Chris Whitaker. I haven't been reading as much lately. I've been watching at night, watching episodes of Game of Thrones with my husband instead, and then I'm too tired to read. So he's enjoying that we're spending some time together and watching episodes, which is good, but I'm missing my reading time. Moving into watching. So Game of Thrones with my husband. Like I said before, I have watched this series a couple of times, I think, already, but he's never watched it all the way through. So we're on season either 4 or 5. I can't remember. I finished watching The Walking Dead. I think it was 11 seasons, and I finally finished the final season. There are some other series, like standalone series, that have come out afterwards that kind of continue with certain people within the story that I haven't started watching yet. I'm not ready to watch those yet. Not last weekend, but the weekend before was the last NFL playoff game. Not happy with the results of who's in the Super Bowl. So I'm not 100% sure we're going to watch the Super Bowl. I might have it on in the background, but I don't really care who wins. It's the Chiefs and the Eagles. Nope. I wanted the Bills to be in there. Watched the Star Trek movies, the newer ones that have Chris Pine in them with my son. We watched the first one the other night because I was like, do you want to watch something? He's like, sure. And then I named off a lot of things. We'd seen all these before, but he wanted to watch those. So that's what we watched. And then my husband joined us for the next 2 over the weekend. So watched all 3 of those. We also watched Starship Troopers as a family because my husband was thinking about campy spacey movies, and that's one that he was like, we should watch that one. And I don't think I've ever seen that one before. Love Spaceballs, but never seen Starship Troopers before, and that was interesting. And then I rewatched the first season of The Recruit because the second season came out. That's a series on Netflix. So I was just finishing up watching that. And then we have been trying to remember to watch Nature Nova Nights. I forgot Nature last night. Didn't think about it until Nova was starting. But we got into Nova and they had a dinosaur birds episode. So we watched that last night. That's reading and watching. Life stuff. Like I said before, snow. So last week, weather-wise, all last week, it was in the 40s and 50s Fahrenheit here. And then even Saturday, it was so nice. It was like mid 50s. We got all our lights taken off the house from Christmas time and the yard from Christmas time and stuff. And the ones from the house, if you watched my vlog, you heard that our squirrels that live in our trees this year went to town on the lights. So we ended up throwing away the lights because my husband had spliced them 3 or 4 times, like fixed the areas that they had chewed off. And then we stopped turning them on because they had chewed them off again and lights to the point where the lights didn't work. And I was like, I'm done. It was past Christmas at that point. I was like, I'm done. And we just didn't have time to get up there after Christmas before it snowed again. So it finally had melted all the way with that nice weather. Not all our snow was gone. Where it was piled up big, we still had snow, but most of the snow was gone, to the point where my son could get out in the yard and pick up from the dogs, because 3 dogs. And we got all the lights put away. It was nice and lovely, walking around with just a sweater on. And then Sunday, and this is why we wanted to get all that done on Saturday, because we knew it was coming. Sunday, it started snowing all day. It started in early morning sometime, and then it snowed all day. And then it snowed all day until like evening on Monday. So the kids had a snow day on Monday, because we got about a foot of snow, plus it was blowing, plus it got really cold. So like Sunday, I think the highs were in the teens. By Monday, I don't even know if we got above 0. I know it was below 0, like 20 below or more with the wind chill. And if we got above 0, it wasn't much. So it was quite chilly, windy, blowy, snowy. So they canceled school on Monday. My husband still worked, and he works from home, so he didn't even have to leave the house. So he was bummed out that he didn't get to like hang out and play video games with the kids all day like they got to do. But yeah, so Monday they didn't have school. Luckily, the weather did not hit until after my daughter got home from her speech and debate tournament. They had state on Friday and Saturday last week. So she got into town before that hit, because they got home around midnight or so. And then what else? Because of the weather, my son had participated in a math contest the previous week, and it was like the local school one, and he did well enough to go on to regionals. The regionals was supposed to be held Monday at MSUB, a local college in town, and since all school and school related activities were canceled, he did not have it. They did reschedule it for a couple of weeks later, so it's going to be in a few weeks now. But yeah, so that happened as well. So he didn't get to have that competition yet, but he still will have it. So that's good. What else? I think that's about it for life stuff. Same old, same old. My daughter does not have any speech and debate this weekend, but the next weekend following is the regional, which decides who goes to nationals. And my husband and I will be judging that, because that's what the kids, that when it's local, they have to find so many judges, because in speech and debate, there's a lot of rounds and a lot of different things to judge. And so usually I'll judge anything. I'll judge debate or speech. I was in speech and debate in high school. So I'll judge anything. My husband generally just judges debate, because that's what, he wasn't in any of this. It's all new to him. Well, last year it was new to him. It's not new to him anymore, but he generally just judges debate. I go for whatever they need. But yeah, so that will be coming up in a little over a week. But yeah, I think that's about everything. Hopefully this video turns out all right without weird noises in the background, because I don't want to record it a third time. So I hope you guys had a good 2 weeks. I hope you have a good next 2 weeks. And if I don't hear from the winner of the giveaway, I will be announcing a new winner next time. I will see you guys later. Stay warm, keep knitting, have fun. Bye.